Hello, everyone, and welcome to the premiere of The Pulse, brought to you by America's Pulse Network, where we check the heartbeat of America and confirm, yes, we are still flatlining on common sense. Tonight, I'm your host, Damon from the Jersey Shore. That's S-U-R-E, because they're always shore on this podcast. On my podcast, by the way. Now, let's talk about what this show is, what The Pulse is about. We're just a couple of Americans with a dangerous amount of common sense. And I know that's shocking in today's day and age, but we still have common sense. There is some, even though we're lacking. So we didn't come together for fame, glamour, or mashing DEI quotas. We came together because we're tired of the lies and sick of the spin. And let me say this with all the sarcasm in my soul. Of course, we thought it was brilliant to elect a dead guy for president in 2020. Genius move. Who better to lead the free world than someone who makes Weekend at Bernie's look like a documentary? We totally support government overreach, reckless spending, and all the isms: socialism, Marxism, fascism, communism, except for the two isms that created the greatest, most powerful, and most sought-out country to live in: capitalism and patriotism. We believe men can become women and women can become men, and your cat might be your spiritual gender guide. We think the borders should be as wide open as Doug Emhoff's nanny, and we definitely love when kids are sexualized in classrooms while their parents are told to sit down and shut up. We support DEI because merit is racist. We chant America last from our climate-controlled Priuses. We're all in on killing babies, canceling God, and jailing our political opponents for having bad vibes. And the grand finale, let's totally eliminate the First Amendment, because who needs free speech when you have fact checkers? Now, obviously, I'm joking. We are the complete opposite of that garbage. We're here because we believe in truth. And the thing about truth, it doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't bend for narratives. And it sure as hell doesn't come with a trigger warning. Every week, right here on The Pulse, we're bringing you unfiltered, uncensored, unindoctrinated truth. No corporate overlords, no propaganda, no political puppets, just facts, freedom, and a whole lot of fire. So grab your coffee, your Constitution, and maybe a stiff drink, because America still needs a wake-up call, and we're here to deliver it loud and clear. This is The Pulse, and we're just getting started. So now, for tonight, I want to introduce our host. I'm going to welcome Alexandra Levine, a.k.a. our own Peter Ducey, firebrand from Alexandra Levine Live.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Also, our other host, Seth Eisenberg, who's filterless, by the way, from the Conservative Corner.
Hey.
And our guests tonight are the fearless queen of bass, Elena Barbera from the Bass Mother.
Hello.
And the never phased Tim Fazenback. Tim Fazenback. Sorry about that, Tim. I swore I wasn't going to get it wrong, but
it's all right. I'm the DEI hire of tonight, so we're all good.
Got it. So, all right. Well, so we're going to go into our first segment. Our first segment is Cold as Ice, and we're going to be talking about Baraka, who is the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. He's also running for the governor of New Jersey, and also Congresswoman Bonnie Watson as well. We're going to play a quick clip and just take a look at it real fast, and then I'll get into it, what it was.
Circle the mayor.
Watch out. Watch out.
Don't touch us. Don't do it. No. Don't touch us. All right. Back out.
Don't touch us. This is not right.
This is your
Now that right there was elected officials at their finest. They're Democrats, of course, trying to break into an ICE facility in Newark, New Jersey. A new ICE facility just set up. It was brand new, probably better than any prison system out there in the state of New Jersey. And they decide they're going to try to break in. And then after they try to break in, they get arrested. And then they call themselves the victims. So, of course, they're the victims because they tried to break in an ICE facility. So instead of representing their constituents like they're supposed to, they're going to go out there and break the law and then cry that they got assaulted. When we actually see them pushing their way through and pushing federal officers and ICE officers, and they wound up getting arrested. And of course, they're not to blame at all. They're the victims. So I guess what do you think? We'll go to Alexandra first. What do you think about something like that?
I think it's disgusting. These are elected officials. They're going against their constituents. The fact that they're supporting these illegal criminals instead of supporting the Americans that voted them in is asinine, and they all need to go to jail, in my opinion.
I think we're all on the same page with that for sure. But all right, now I'm going to go to. I'm sure we're going to get something really good out of this one. So you smiling already? He doesn't go to him. Seth, let's get your thoughts on this one.
All right. Well, the first thing, I was raised by a police officer, so I firmly believe in law and order. I was raised like that. Secondly, the second you touch a police officer or a federal agent or anybody who's in law enforcement, you need your mouth split wide open. I don't care who you are. You don't get to go around touching people, especially police officers, when they're trying to do their job. They weren't acting outside the scope of their power. They were trying to keep them out of a detention center. And the second those Congress people put their hands on those cops should have started splitting wigs. Those people are no different than me. If I pushed that cop, he'd have punched me in the face. They should be treated the exact same way as anybody else. And then when they're picking their teeth up off the ground, then they get handcuffed and drugged to a cruiser and taken to the local lockup. It's that simple. You don't get to hit cops. You don't. I don't care who you are.
No, I'm with you there as well. I mean, as you think about it, I want to compare like the left. I mean, they always try to blame everybody. And I'm going to take this to you, Elena, afterwards. They always try to blame everybody for exactly what they're doing. And that's straight out of Hitler's playbook. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's minister of propaganda, he once said, accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. And that's what they do. And that's exactly what Nazi Germany did back in the day. They claimed that they were fighting for their democracy and they were the victims of conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And they indoctrinated their kids growing up. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over a generation. But I think that's the same thing the left are doing. What are your thoughts, Elena?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, we've been gaslit by them for years on every single thing that they have accused us of doing. They're doing. It's like being in an abusive relationship with my government. That's how I feel. That's what it's been for years now. But the thing that I think we have to talk about is that members of Congress by law do have the right to enter and inspect and offer oversight at ICE detention facilities. They can. The mayor has no right. And anybody else that they're going to bring in who's on a short list of people that have rights, like staff members of Congress, they require at least 24 hours. And in most cases, Congress is allowed to go in without any notice. That said, they were interfering with the prisoner transport. They were putting their hands on officers. They brought a crowd of protesters with them. They were not going there because they cared about the prisoners inside. They were going there to put on a show, and put on a show they did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was a disgusting display of a show. And the thing is that most of the mainstream media eat it up and they say, oh, look at it. They care. They care about the people. No, you're right. It was a prisoner transfer. They were getting off a bus when they tried to push their way in. So Tim, what do you have on this?
It's really hard to watch because you notice there was muffin top in there with some of these people. And I get the feeling when I see the bulldozer, LaMonica Ivor, running through, she looks like Tommy Boy, just a fat guy in a little coat. It's hard to watch. But, and then Elena was talking about the government was like, we're in an abusive relationship. Yeah, it's like we're married to like Sean Diddy Combs right now. It's terrible. So, but what you see there is everything was staged. And they think that what they're doing is actually working. But you know what? Black, white, doesn't matter, Hispanic, we all look at it as you're putting us last. You're putting the Maryland dad, and I'm from Maryland, who was the MS-13 guy, Kilbreo, whatever his name was. You're putting him before you're putting that homeless veteran. You're putting him and those types of people before your grandmother, my grandfather, my uncle, my cousin who might have addiction problems, my person who has just anything going on. And when you do this, you're only hurting yourself. And that's why you're seeing the rise of identity politics and you're seeing the rise of patriotism again. There's nothing wrong with nationalism and believing and being proud of what you have. I'll leave it there because I got some PC issues I'm going to take care of.
Okay, you got it. So yeah, I know. I mean, you would think that a lot of people are just fed up with this already, which they are. That's why Trump won in November. But the only thing I keep telling people and all the listeners out there too, you can't take your foot off the gas. You got to keep going, because they're obviously, the left are willing to die on these 80, 20, 90, 10 issues for whatever reason, and they can keep trying to do it.
Let them.
Yeah, it's only going to piss more people off. It's only going to keep more people like us involved, because it really, every time I see it, I can't stand it. And it's just, I just hope everyone listening out there pays attention to this stuff and realizes what it is. Stay away from your mainstream media. Go. I always tell people, even when I talk about stuff, you don't have to believe me. Look it up yourself. I prefer for people to do that instead of watching mainstream media, because they're just left propagandists, mouthpieces for the left, and that's all they are. But so yeah, we have and again, I want to thank everybody for joining us too. I forgot to say that. I really appreciate that. And this is the premiere of The Pulse, and we're all excited to get it started. And we're going to have many other episodes every Wednesday at 8 p.m. With different guests, different topics, of course. So for right now, let's roll into the next topic. We're going to talk about Trump's trip to the Middle East, and there's probably a lot to talk about there. He gave a couple good speeches, and I think he was right on point with it, and I believe he cut some good deals. So let's roll in the segment two.
Among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East, I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
So, so that was one of the clips there from Trump. I think Trump really understands how to speak to like Saudi Arabia, countries like that, and Syria and Iran as well. When you go over and you speak to countries like that, you don't go over there and preach democracy, and they're not with liberal unity like Biden always and Obama would always say. They're pretty much set in their ways for now. Look, you had dictatorships. For hundreds of years, going back to, the kings and queens of England and all that stuff. And it didn't change overnight. So you're not going to change them overnight, if at all. But you have to go in there and kind of speak their language. You got to speak commerce, the pocket, and that's what Trump is doing. So I guess, Tim, we'll go back to you on this one and just check on your camera issues. Everything good?
Yeah, it's like it's unbelievable to see what's going on in the Middle East. And if you actually step back and you think about what President Trump did with the Abrahamic Accord, he should have deserved a Nobel Peace Prize. Not that those things really matter to many of us, but it's crazy that the left will do anything opposite of what President Trump, whatever he says or does. So you see him now, and he's securing peace in the Middle East, and it's going to be extremely hard, but he's doing it. And then you have the left just going crazy. And he's not even involving Israel at this moment, which is even crazier, because we know the left basically hates Israel and hates Jews. So not all, but you've got him doing things that are inspirational, not only to Americans, but to the world. And he's giving people like Assad in Syria a chance when, many conservatives would probably be like, no, we don't want to do that. He's been tied to terrorist groups, but he's actually doing things and working different angles. And look, if anyone's in business, that CEOs are really hard to be outside the box thinkers. And that's what President Trump is doing. Everything for the past 100 years hasn't been working in the Middle East. He's doing something different, and it's working. The whole airplane thing is just stupid, in my opinion. I think about, first thing I thought was Statue of Liberty was a gift from France. But, I don't really care. I don't think any Americans really care, besides the far left, about these types of things. The left thinks of President Trump as Borat, and he's over there making a fool of himself. But what's really going on is he's actually setting the bar extremely high, and you see the respect that he's getting from these princes, kings, and all these other people in the Arabic world and just around the world in general.
Yeah, you're right, because believe it or not, they're not isolationists, and Trump isn't either. And a lot of people think about they call him that and call those countries that. They're really not. So I think we have some more clips. Let's play another clip, and then we'll take it down.
But with that said, Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait.
Now, Alexandra, I'm sure, I mean, you're probably the best go-to person to talk about this. I know you're heavily involved with this trip. You were following it very closely. So what your thoughts?
Well, as we know, when President Trump was in his first term, he said that Iran will never obtain a nuclear weapon. He pulled us out of the horrible Iran nuclear deal that Barack Hussein Obama put us in. And he's saying it again. We're not going back to the horrible Iran nuclear deal. And what did President Trump do? So President Trump with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman signed a series of agreements on energy, defense, and other areas, making a $600 billion investment into America. That's what really needs to be talked about. Now, the mainstream media, the propaganda, even JerusalemPost.com, which has become more center-left over the years with Haaretz, and a lot of these I-24 Israeli news outlets, said that President Trump was going to push for a two-state solution and call for a Palestinian state, which of course never happened. President Trump never even mentioned a Palestinian state on this trip, and he's not going to. And I said on my show last night, I'll repeat it tonight, the two words like Tim actually emphasized, Abraham Accords. It's all about the Abraham Accords and bringing more Arabic countries to the Abraham Accords. That's why President Trump called for Syria to be a part of the Abraham Accords. He will be calling for Saudi Arabia to be part of the Abraham Accords to keep that peace in the Middle East. Because we have Bahrain in there, Sudan, UAE, Morocco, none of those countries has ever gone against those treaties. And as a Jew now, I can go to Bahrain, I can go to Sudan, I can go to UAE. And Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, he said, all I want is to take a plane from Ben Gurion Airport to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I would love to do that in my lifetime. And that's what this whole trip is all about. It's really about the Abraham Accords and bringing that peace to the Middle East that President Trump started in 2017, 2018, and 2019, and so forth.
Can you say Bahrain again?
Bahrain.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, sorry, I didn't do that. I tried not to sound like, more of an Israeli than someone from Saudi Arabia.
You're a resident Middle Eastern person.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if people thought I was an Israeli spy for a long time, which I'm not. But that's what people thought.
I thought you were. I didn't know anybody was going to put it out there. Like, I don't want to, oust you.
Wait, what's the guy's name? Mohammed bin Salma. I have to get that right.
Someone says they're not a spy. They might be a spy.
Oh, geez.
The Mossad's calling me right now for some reason.
Oh,
don't answer your phone. don't answer it. Kind of abominable.
Yeah. But again, I don't want to take over the segment, but I like what Tim said about the plane. Everyone's like freaking out about this plane. And actually, my friend Phil Holloway, he tweeted about the plane. This had to deal with Boeing. President Trump asked Boeing to put together a new Air Force One, and they have failed to do it. It's taken them 10 years to do it. So because of this, Trump asked a Florida defense contractor called L3 Harris to overhaul a 747 once used by the Qatari government. So that is the real underlining meaning of this plane coming through. It wasn't that, President Trump was doing a deal with Qatar, behind the scenes, and this plane is for him. This is because Boeing didn't step up. And now Boeing has to step up. And that's what this whole plane thing is all about.
Did you know that he's going to have Hillary Clinton do the test run on that plane?
Well, for one, I wouldn't trust Boeing anyway. Doors are flying off and everything else, in the meantime. But as far as the plane goes, I don't think it's just another distraction. I don't think it needs to be even talked about. I don't think it needs to be accepted either. He can if he wants. I really care less, but I don't think it's necessary. And plus, you're going to waste how much time to overhaul it and check it for Chinese, viruses and bugs and everything else. So there's no reason to take it as Air Force One, not from another country, especially from Qatar, or Qatar, however you want to pronounce it. But they give so much money to our universities and everything else. Why? Why do you think that? Because they're trying to indoctrinate our kids. They're one of the biggest terrorist sponsor groups out there. You know, and so I wouldn't take a plane from them. And I understand we have to deal with them, and we have to, you know, we're trying with the Abraham Accords and all that stuff too. So things aren't necessary, but taking gifts from them, they're not. It's not a gift out of their kindness of their heart, I would say. So I'll take it to you, Elena. What do you think?
I don't know. It feels, even whatever the gift's intention are, and whatever Trump's intentions are in, for example, lifting the sanctions on Syria, there seem to be some olive branches being passed around to at least calm things down for the moment. And you know, I'm not an expert in this particular area at all, so I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to get super sophisticated here. I like the spirit of making friends for now and seeing how that goes, because everything we've been doing for the recent past few decades has not worked to create peace. So this is worth a shot.
Yeah, you're right. And you'll see that in this next clip. Let's play the next clip before we go to Seth.
Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path, and a much better path, toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran. I have never believed in having permanent enemies.
All right, so that's that clip. Seth, in the end there, he was saying he never believed in having permanent enemies. And he goes even further to say that, you know, and I think that's important. You know, you don't need to have a permanent enemy. He even goes on to say we used to be enemies with many other people, you know, with England, with Germany, but now we're allies. So that's a point he was trying to make. So let's hear from the unfiltered.
Well, I was in the military, so I've dealt with those people firsthand, and I don't trust them. Not a single one. We're talking about countries that still behead people, cut people's hands off for stealing, subjugate women, deal in slavery, and in their religion, they are allowed to lie to you. They are taught to lie to non-believers and infidels to get your confidence so they can kill you. They don't want to be our friends. Make no mistake. I don't care what anybody says or what little cool speeches we get or what we give them. They want to kill us. They want to kill Israel. They've made that very clear for decades. They've never tried to hide it. Hell, what was it? Iran's constitution has in it, erase Israel. They're not going to change because we're going to give them things. They're not going to change because we want to be their friends. They will go, great. And as they stick out their one hand, they're going to stab us in the back with the other. You can't trust these people. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope these countries come around and they become great. We all can get together, hold hands, and have a big unicorn cake and kiss and hug each other. But I am telling you, they don't like us. They are using us for right now. There's an angle being played. They're doing something because they want something in return. And who knows, maybe that's what they're doing. But don't think for 1 second that if they think they can get better by destroying us or doing something harmful to us, they'll do it and not care. They won't hesitate. We're not talking about people we're dealing with. We're dealing with a religion. That's what we're dealing with. And the sooner we understand that and accept that, things will be better. But if we still think we're dealing with people who are thinking normally and rationally, we're going to get screwed. They don't like us.
Seth, I hear what you're saying, and I don't dispute it, but I would venture to think that they would say the exact same thing about us. And quite frankly, our government isn't a Muslim government, but our government is pretty damn evil too. And they have every reason to not trust us either. So when, you got two devils trying to dance together, my hope is just that they'll both get enough from each other that they'll all calm down. Well, I don't think this is actually going to be a real love affair.
I would rather deal with a devil that doesn't cut people's hands off and slaughter women because they take their mask off. I'll deal with my devil. My devil doesn't kill women. My devil doesn't kill homosexuals, doesn't sell children, doesn't have child brides. Those people are evil.
We do sell children.
We can try to compare them to everybody else. But they're evil. I've been there. I've seen these people. They are evil.
So is our government. I'm not saying they're not. But
not like that. That's barbaric.
500,000 children lost at the border. We are the biggest consumers.
The children here are lost. The children there are killed and sold off. So we know where they're at.
We're selling children here too. That's what I'm saying. You're
When have we sold children? When do we have grown men marrying 12-year-old girls? Why that's
We have
not
the largest sex trafficking operations on earth here in the United States.
I guarantee you most of them up in the Middle East.
And it's all going to Nancy Pelosi's face with that adrenochrome.
It's not
It's all going to the D'Alessandro family.
I'm just saying you can't trust those people.
You're making it seem like they're you're comparing evils. Our government does the most horrible shit.
I've been overseas. I've dealt with those people. They are fucking evil.
Well, I can tell you, I can
evil.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying they're saying the same thing about us and our
They
government.
say it about everybody. They say it about the Quakers, the Amish, the Canadians. We're all infidels.
Did you call me a cracker?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I can tell you one of the.
We don't deserve to live. It's taught. That's their religion. We don't deserve to live. It's that simple. We are less than. Like everybody is less than in Islam. We are less than. And that's how they view us. That's how they treat us. That's how they deal with us.
Well, I agree with both of your points. I do. I understand. I think they are evil, but you can raise evil. You can make evil. You know,
the only way to get rid of evil is kill it.
What's that?
The only way to get rid of evil is kill it.
That's how they feel about us.
And they've been doing it. They did it in New York, 9/11. They do it every day over there. There's so much crap that goes on in the Middle East that we don't know about. It's ridiculous. And it all boils down to them thinking they're superior. It's that simple.
Well, I hear you there, but one thing, of course, I trust my country before I would trust theirs. And I think that we do have better morals than they do. I do believe that. But at the same time, if you look at it, it's never ending. You know, you can have a terrorist come and blow up a building here and people die. And then we have airstrikes over there. And then, a son sees his father, blown up right in front of him. Then what? Then he's going to grow up feeling the same way. And it's a vicious cycle over and over again. And that's the hard part to stop. But Seth, I agree with you there. That I would say that they are evil. Their religion is a little bit more radical than ours. We don't think that if we kill people and sacrifice ourselves, take murdering 30 people, that we're going to go to heaven with I don't know how many virgins there.
72.
How many?
72.
I was way off then. I was thinking less than that. Well, I don't know.
Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong, and for some reason, all of a sudden, they viewed us in a different light. But history tells us that's not the case.
Well, I can tell you that one of the objectives, and this is what I heard from my Brexit organization, Miriam Adelson and so forth, was that, Trump wants to negotiate with the Arab world and they will form a Mideast NATO alliance, and Iran will not have any power over them. They will prosper and normalize trade with Israel, and Israel in the end will become a superpower.
I hope.
And that's one of the main, things that Trump wants to do, because the propaganda, again, that President Trump is pushing Israel aside, that President Trump doesn't get along with Netanyahu anymore. That's all fake news. It's all propaganda. President Trump has Netanyahu's back. He has Israel's back in the end. And we saw this when Trump said, I think, the United States, we may have a Mara Gaza, we may do that. He threw that out there to say that Israel and the United States they're together. Israel's our biggest ally. We will support them. We will put them first and foremost before these Arab worlds. And in the end, it's going to be Israel and America just being on that train together. And I know that Netanyahu and Trump are looking at Israel and America in 75 years plus when they're gone. And that's what this is all about, making peace in the region, but also having Israel and America even tighter than ever before.
Like I said, I hope so. I hope I'm wrong.
All right, guys. Well, we're getting close to our next segment. So our next segment is going to be on the African refugees. So right after this,
welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with Alexandra Levine. We are still waiting for someone from the White House to come out and tell us what transpired between President Trump and Vladimir Putin on that call today. We are here live at the White House. We're waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to come out and tell us about the updates of today, the call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, what transpired in that call.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right, everybody, welcome back to our next segment. Welcome back to the Pulse, everyone. Thank you for joining us, all the listeners out there. Again, this is the premiere of the Pulse. It will be on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So always feel back to come back and join us after this. We're not over yet, though. We're on segment 3. So segment 3 is we're going to be talking about the African refugees that just sought asylum here in the United States. Now, Trump and the administration has kept a lot of flack over it because they're from South Africa and they're white. So the way I see it has nothing to do with the color of your skin or your race. I would say the number one thing, number one is they did it legally. They did it the right way. So there's no complaints about illegal border crossings doing it the wrong way. They were actually in trouble. They filed a claim for asylum and they were given it. Now, there's also other pluses to it too. I mean, they do speak our language, and they're, if you want people to come to your country, not the fact, I wouldn't say that people don't speak English or they're not used to your culture or they're seeking asylum, everyone should still be given that chance. But it's easier to assimilate people that are part of your culture. But that's not the only reason. The main reason is they did it legally and they were in trouble. Their lives were in danger. They're killing white farmers over there, and there are clips out there showing that. So let's play the clip for this segment, and then I'll take it to you, Seth, while you're still on fire after this clip.
There is no clip.
Okay.
I thought there was a clip. Oh.
I thought I saw a clip.
There was a clip.
There was a clip.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not being played right now, so they're saying there's no clip. Okay. Well, there was a clip anyway. Must have got lost. So
I can add.
Seth, there's a clip. There's a clip that I have on my social media that many of you guys might have seen. It's Julius Malema. I think that's how you say his name. He's in a stadium, and he's saying,
he's killed the boar.
Kill the boar, the white people, the farmer. Brr, bah, brr. He's whatever they're doing.
That was a good impression.
It was a good rap song, and everybody's getting into it. And I was like, wait a minute, are they talking about whitey? So that's the clip I think maybe we were talking about. I'll leave it at that.
I can believe it was.
And there was another clip. I don't know if it was the same man, but he was saying, if you kill one of ours, for everyone you kill of ours, we're going to kill 5 of yours. We'll kill your women. We'll kill your children. We'll kill your pets. You come for us. We're coming for 5 of you. It was pretty violent and gross.
Oh, that's nice. So what do you think about that one, Seth? That's good for you to jump on.
I think anytime there's racism, I think number one, it's stupid. I mean, there's so many other perfectly good reasons to hate somebody other than color. I mean, that's just being lazy. I don't like you because you're black. I don't like you because you're brown. You're lazy. I don't like you because you're an idiot. If you're going to kill people just because of a color, I can't think of a lower form of life than that. I truly can't. They're farmers. So I can't, and I'm assuming farmers over there are like farmers here. I've never been to South Africa. I don't know. But if they're like here, they're just hardworking people that want to be left alone. They're just trying to feed people or raise cows. They're not messing with anybody. They're not going into cities causing problems. So if you're looking for people like that and you're killing them, what is your problem? I mean, really, what is your issue with a farmer who's white? It's not messing with you, not even near you. And I think anybody that's complaining that we're letting them in here is just as ignorant as the people in South Africa that are killing them. Like you said, they came in legally. They did it right. They're not trying to sneak around. They're assimilating to our country. They're not just coming in and going, well, I'm from this country, so now you're going to do what I want you to do. No, they're coming into our country and going, thanks. We're going to do what you need us to do. And that's how it needs to be. But yeah, I've never understood racism. I don't get it. Maybe because I'm Jewish and I don't understand it because I don't look at people on anything other than their character and how they act. So I don't understand why they're killing white farmers. I don't see anything behind it. Nothing about it makes sense. And I'm glad they came over, and we should get more over and let the people in South Africa live with themselves. After a while, they're going to kill each other off and have no farmers, and they're not going to be able to eat. Let them deal with that. Let them deal with their stupidity on their own. We shouldn't be involved. Save as many people as we can.
All right, and there you go. there's Seth's tape there. So and again, like I said, they did do it legally. They filed for it, and I don't see any problem with that. If everybody wants to, make a racial issue about it, then you're right, Seth. They're an idiot, and I'm not with that at all. I don't care what color you are. I don't care, what you look like at all. It's just, as long as you're going to come and you're going to assimilate to our country. And I would say that they're most likely, you want the type of people that are going to come to this country that are more inclined to walk up to a storefront window that says, hiring, than walk up to a storefront window that says, free food. I'd rather have somebody that's going to come over here looking for a job than a handout. And so we're here. We'll go to you, Elena. What do you think?
What's bothering me most about this is seeing people on Twitter and in the news basically denying that white people are being killed in South Africa and to say it's not happening. And the only reason we're taking these people is because they're white. And it's insulting to what's happening. I mean, probably everyone here has known for years that these farm murders have been happening. I just learned about it last year myself. And when I looked into it, I was so saddened and horrified. So you have that. Then you had like Al Sharpton saying, oh, well, these people probably aren't even vetted. How do we know they're any good? And like 10 million plus came in unvetted, unvaccinated, without any sort of refugee asylum status. And he didn't say a damn thing. But like a few dozen white families come in and all of a sudden we got this big crisis. I mean, these people, it's just outrageous.
Absolutely, it is outrageous, and it's nerve-wracking. It really is, because it really makes me sick, honestly. When people bring stuff like this up, because they're just looking for it, they're looking for a problem, they're looking to race bait, and I can't stand it anymore. I'm so tired of it, and I'm sure you guys are as well. I mean, Alexandra, what do you think about this?
Well, I think it's really rich of the lawmakers that are supporting, Kilmar Garcia. They're supporting all these illegal terrorists, these illegal criminals, but yet these people that have done it the right way. Where's the lawmakers? Where are they? Where's Johnny Oshefsky? Where's Fizzle Gray? Where's Governor Westmore? Where are these congressmen and senators from Maryland? I say this because Maryland is supporting, all these illegal terrorists, the quote Maryland man. But where are they? Where were they when all these people who came in the right way came in the right way? Why weren't they there? And I really hope that the American voter really sees the difference and the hypocrisy between lawmakers that are supporting illegal criminals and illegal terrorists as opposed to lawmakers that aren't supporting people that are coming in the right way. Frizzle Gray.
Well, I don't know, Tim, what do you think? You think we should have just sent them to Martha's Vineyard? You think it would have been a problem then?
That would be amazing. They would probably accept them into Martha's Vineyard because they look like them. Hey, but with the left, I love to troll them. And when they start talking about it, I say, well, how do you know they identify as white? And they back up. They're like, well, they look white. I mean, they look white. I mean, the Pope is white, right? Oh, but the Pope has black roots now. And now they're like, oh, well, the Pope's great because he's the first black Pope. The whole skin thing is stupid. I think most of the world is seeing it now, that there's been the attack in this country and in Western society that white people are bad and whatever. Look, everybody has their faults. And nobody really generally hates anybody based on their skin color. Not all cultures are the same. And we see that happening in places like South Africa. You saw it in Rwanda and Zimbabwe and other places around the world. To just isolate a person because of the color of their skin is stupid. To kill somebody for the color of their skin is stupid. To want to be different and away from different types of cultures, that's fine. Because look, people do want to be close to people that they're like, but this has nothing to do with skin color in America. It has skin color implications in South Africa. So when they say, oh, this is all white supremacy, you know what? Most of us are mixed. And if we all supposedly come from one person, then aren't we all kind of the same? And skin color doesn't really matter. But when you tell that to them, that doesn't matter. So you have 49 people that come into this country who appear to be white. We'll just call them white. And you have 40 million illegals over the past decade come in that probably are from third world nations that probably aren't white. Where's the balance? Why is it racist when you have 49 white people coming in, but not racist when you push 40 million people from places that aren't typically white and done on purpose by Ted Kennedy back in the 60s and the left-wing movement to bring in people that weren't from Europe. And it was all by design. So Let them cry, but to protect 49 people, that are dealing with crisis over there, a real refugee problem. That is what America's about. We help those people. We're not going to help freeloaders. If anyone from any country, any color needs help, America will help them. But we're not going to be isolating people just because they're white and not let them come in.
Yeah, but I personally think it's not really because of white and black or race or anything like that. People use it as an excuse. That's what it is. It's an out to get away with something that they normally wouldn't get away with. You know, they'll play the race card all the time, whether you're white playing it or you're black playing it or you're brown playing it, whatever it might be, or Asian. So if you use race for an excuse, then that's your easy way out, because you want to do something fucked up and you know it's wrong and you did it, and now you're a victim because you're this or you're that. And then people just want to keep it out there. I mean, Morgan Freeman said it the best a long time ago. You know, how do you end racism? He said, stop talking about it.
Yep.
You know? So, I mean, that was the simplest answer I've ever heard, and probably the best. Stop talking about it. But people don't want to stop talking about it, especially the left. They want the division. They want the hate. They want the divide, because that's what they use. It's what they use for elections. They use it for votes, and they use it to keep people divided right down the middle. And so we got to go to Seth real quick because we only have a little bit of time for this segment.
I agree with what everybody said. I mean, who cares if they're white or if purple with 7 arms and 2 eyes? If they're being attacked and victimized, help them. I don't. That's all I care about. Are you a victim? We're going to help you. That's all I care about. Nothing. Everything else is smoke and mirrors. You're being murdered. We're going to help you, as long as you get to this country, like Tim said, and you don't expect a handout. If you get over here and you assimilate and you work with it, I have no problem helping you. I don't care what your color is. As long as you try to assimilate and make yourself better, I'll help you all day long. And like Tim said, if you come over and go, no, I want you to do for me, then I got a problem. Then I got no problem bouncing your ass out back to your third world shithole. No problem at all.
Yeah.
But if you come over here and you want to work and you legitimately need the help, I'm all for it. I have no problem at all. I'll do whatever I can to help you, as long as I know you're here for a legitimate reason and you are also trying to help better yourself and you're not depending on everybody else to do it for you. I have no problem at all.
If someone has 7 arms, do we really want them here?
I do. I can make money.
Definitely.
Well, they'd make a good bartender.
They can stock shelves so fast.
They come in here legally. We'll take
I
them.
was thinking something else. We won't go there.
All right, so we're wrapping up on this segment. So let's take a quick break, and we'll go to our next segment, which is going to be talk about black fatigue, which has been trending on X lately, and we'll get into that. So,
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution, because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
all right, and everybody noticed that last word, and that was truth. And I said it before, you know, the thing about truth, it doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't bend for narratives, and it sure as hell doesn't give you any trigger warnings. So this is just going to be truth coming out. Let's play the first clip, because it's going to get into why this topic we're going to talk about could be looked at as controversial, but it's really not. It's just the truth, and it's a fact, and it's what's trending on X right now. And
black
there's a good reason
fatigue
for
is
it.
real.
Let's play the first
Everybody
clip.
is tired of black people, but it's 2 specific types of black people that everyone is tired of. Number 1, everybody is tired of loud, ghetto, and ratchet, and violent, and mean, and angry all the time. Everybody is tired of them. Nobody wants to deal with them. even other black people do not want to deal with these people. You know, when you see them in public, you know when they're going to give you attitude at the CVS. Everybody knows it and they want to avoid it. The second group of black people that everybody is tired of is this sort of like fake black bougie intelligentsia who kind of like walks around telling everybody how they're supposed to think or speak or act when it comes to anything black. These are the most privileged black people in the world. These people have built enormous platforms and have so much money, and yet they are still perpetual victims all the time. And
All right. So there you go. He was making a pretty good point there. So, Elaine, I'll take it to you because we have another clip too. So if you want to talk, you want to start off with this, and if you want to roll the other clip in between, have at it.
Well, I got to say, I'm glad that this phrase "black fatigue" has been put forth in this, because I was feeling it, but I didn't have the words for it, and I'm sick of it. I am sick. I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, in a melting pot. We all got along fine. Were there racists? Sure, but it was so small. Racism was almost completely solved in this country, and then the Democrats had to come in and give it a blood transfusion every single day until now. We have a situation where, black people are giving me side eye. Like, I walk down the street and this happens and smile at somebody. And I don't know if they're going to smile back or go, scowl at me because of the color of my skin. It is so ridiculous. And I am black fatigued on it. And I am fatigued on the Jasmine Crockett's of the world who are talking down to everybody all around them. Just like he said, these bougie intelligista. Now, this is a cultural problem. It is not a skin color problem, but this is a cultural problem that is unique to the black community. So that's why it's called black fatigue. I did give you some clips, like one of Rob Smith who was just talking. He said there were two categories. There's like the ghetto ratchet people who were just sick of their behavior. And then there's the bougie intelligista. So whenever you're ready, we can give the audience a sampling of what we're talking about.
That was more ass than a donkey.
Did you see the price of eggs?
I know.
That was the produce section. What is going on?
I forget the name. I saw that on Instagram. Actually, I forget the name of the guy who was narrating it. There was a black guy in these conservatives.
Morgan Freeman.
Well, maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't
all of them.
but he did a nice narrating of it, and it was hilarious. I mean, that scene wasn't hilarious, but what he was saying made it out to be. It actually was. But yeah, I mean, it's like, come on already. That would fatigue the shit out of me. It's like you're going out to go food shopping, and then you have that breaking out. I can imagine being in ShopRite going by, like, well, maybe my wife, because she hates when I food shop. It's not a sexist thing. She just doesn't let me food shop.
Right, because you probably buy all the wrong things.
I do. That's the reason why. And it takes me forever because I can't find anything. I call her up. What aisle is it in? She's like, read the signs. And I'm like, I am. But why would, I don't understand. Why would salt should be in seasoning, not over here? That's for me. I would think that's what it is, but not to get off topic. But yeah. I mean, that would fatigue the shit out of me. And there's a lot of it going on. I mean, Jasmine Crockett, that one, I could go on about her for an hour, seeing how she talked before she was elected. And all of a sudden now she's, Miss Ghetto, Miss Thing out there. And she's the toughest thing out there. Like, no, you're not. You're an idiot. I love when Trump says she has a very low IQ and she got all pissed about it. So, but that's Trump. It is what it is, but he's right. She does. So, so after seeing those clips, what do you think, Tim? What do you got?
I think the real problem isn't black fatigue. It's Seth fatigue, right? Anyway, so look, growing up, I didn't really understand the black culture until I started working with a lot of people who are black, and they started telling me about the issues with their skin color, and they have their belief that if you're lighter skin, it's different and all that stuff. But this is a perfect example of what we were just talking about. Nobody really hates you because of your skin. It's about culture. And unfortunately, a lot of Black people get tied into that ghetto culture. And it's not necessarily fair, but that there is a stereotype there because it does happen. It's just like being white and you have the white trash people, and then you have your, middle America white people, whatever it's going to be. And it's been hard for a lot of Black people who do well and want better, and they want to be assimilated into what typical American culture would be. It's hard for them to stand out because they got to keep facing the fact that other people with their skin color have a different culture, and they keep tearing down everything that it means to be American. These types of issues are just ongoing, and we've placated it for so long, and now we should really isolate it and say, you know what, this is not good. It's kind of like the English with the English people have their, I think, Cockneys over there, and they're considered the trash in a sense with their accent, and they commit crime and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with skin color. It's all about race and how you act, and we don't want to see this anymore. And it's uncomfortable to be around, and it can be intimidating. And at the same time, being a mental health professional, a lot of it is projection. It's because they feel like they are fighting a system that they'll never win, and they need to be more vocal, more loud to get attention. And it's unfortunate, but we got to find a way to not reward that type of behavior, reward the people that want to do well and give them a helping hand, and not placate this type of behavior.
All right. And you're a mental health consultant?
Well, I was an executive in the mental health field for a long time. So I look at things through a mental health perspective a lot of times with different issues. So the longer we're on these shows, you'll hear my perception on a lot of things through that lens.
I didn't need all that. I was asking for Seth. So.
Oh.
Can I talk to you later, Tim?
I'm asking though, like, how do you explain all of these street brawls? So that the produce brawl we just saw, that is happening all over the place. I mean, there are more videos coming out day after day after day. Like, that's just a way of life. Like, I'm sorry, you definitely have more experience than I do in the mental health field, but like, I've dealt with a lot of crazy people. That is just you can't even say, oh, they're just projecting on their deep-seated feelings of, being second in American, whatever, cultural infrastructure. It's like, it's not that deep. They just have zero class. They have zero emotional control. They don't know they don't even know how to have the slightest conflict. I wanted that banana, but the lady there took it before I got to it. So I'm gonna throw a shopping cart at her. What's going on? I can't. I'm sorry. I'm done making excuses for people acting like that.
Did you have to say banana?
I wasn't going to say it. They weren't produce. I thought maybe it really was. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Now we're
really.
Now
if I
eat bananas like every day. I eat bananas all the time. That's why I wish I had said orange, but I didn't.
I already said this segment was going to be controversial. Now you just the case.
If I can respond to that real quick, you're right. I mean, a lot of it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and if people aren't familiar with it, there's your basic needs that you need to survive, and then it moves up and through civility in a sense. And a lot of it is tribalism, and it's impulse control, and it's about giving me what I want, and it's about feeling good now, not building for the future. And a lot of it's learned, and some of it is innate. And so you can't make excuses for them. In my defense, I was trying to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I do understand that some people do feel that way, but really it is something innate and something learned that we need to stop and correct in those types of cultures.
I think the big problem is, and I think it was last year they came out with a report. It said 48% of Black homes have no father. There's no male figure in that home to teach these people, hey, you don't do that, or you do that, and if you do this, there's going to be repercussions. Without and people, I mean, it's vogue today to knock fathers. You don't need a father. Single moms are the greatest. You don't need no man. I'm a strong, independent woman. That's what you get when you don't have a man in the house. And I'm not knocking women. Don't get me wrong. You need a mother and you need a father. They teach different things to children that they need to learn from both. And if you just have one, I mean, there's statistics that tell you without a father in the house, your kids are more like 60% more likely to drop out of school, 40% more to be arrested, higher percentage of being pregnant before you get out of high school. It's important to have a father. And if you don't believe me, watch those clips. And I can guarantee you there is no father in their house. And there has never been. And when it gets down to it, I blame the government. because they pay people not to have a father in the house. I will give you money and food if you're single and have 45 kids. And that's how it goes. I think if you start putting fathers back in these people's houses, I think things will change. And again, it's got nothing to do with skin color. This transcends race. Without a father in a house, your kids are doomed.
No, you're right about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, you can look that up at statistics. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's not.
That's science.
Yeah, it is. It's science. So you're right. So Alexandra, you want to take us out of this segment because we're about to wrap up.
Yeah, I just wanted to give it kind of like my perspective of being in retail and being a professional opera singer. So one of the biggest musicals is Porgy and Bess, which is usually a black cast. But that was one of my audition songs that I sang was Summertime. It's a very famous song. And I had a teacher tell me, Alexandra, you sang the song so well, but you know what? It just sounds so much better when a black woman sings it. So I dealt with that. I dealt with that my whole life. Then I went into retail and I was working in retail, and also I get my hair professionally done. There's certain products that I want for my hair. And I've had people tell me, well, you don't have black hair. You're not black. So that hair, that shampoo, that conditioner is not going to work for your hairstyle because you're not black. But I never was like that. I was like, this is an oil that works for all hair types. This is a perfume that works for all skin types. I never discriminated between, well, I'm white, I can only use this product, or I'm white, I can only sing this particular song. And that's what I dealt with pretty much half my life in the retail life and in the opera life is I could not sing certain songs because I was white. I couldn't wear and use certain products because I'm white. But to be honest with you, we're finding out, and Tim knows this, that most Jewish people are not even white anymore. Some of us are black. So, before they judge me, just because I look white, there could be a little black in me. So be careful. So that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, I'm Sicilian. Hey, look.
Yeah, the Moors. It's a Maury, yeah.
Hey, what are you doing over there?
And I got family from the Bahamas, so.
There you go. That's black.
Let's change the name of the show to The Black Pulse.
There you go.
No, the Finster Pulse.
Hey, give me a couple more weeks out in the sun. I'll be speaking Spanish to you guys. So everybody comes up to me and speaks Spanish right from the gate. I'm like, I took it in high school, buddy. I said, but I'm not following you. So, all right, everybody. Listen, thank you for joining us. I mean, great show, great premiere. Loved it. A lot of stuff to talk about. We could have talked about so much more, but we're running out of time. And all the listeners out there, thank you for joining us. We will be here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And you can catch us live on Rumble, YouTube, if you just look up the America's Pulse Network. You can also go to our Facebook pages, our X pages, our social media. You can follow us on that. It was all put out there in the promo. But hey, listen, next week, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., come back. And like the doctor always says, come get your pulse checked. And we'll be here for it. All right. Thank you, everybody. God bless America. Have a good night.
Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Goldo. Hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.